This week I watched Ballerina, a film titled as being from the world of John Wick, and from the trailer a while back I had some reservations going in and I had some reservations coming out. But one of my reservations was not Ana de Armas being in it, because it may just be me, but I do find it kind of easy on the eye. So what is it? IMDb has it as an action thriller, but it's really a John Wick movie. I didn't see much thriller in there, it's almost entirely action, and IMDb done lied to me. It's 2 hours of action and almost nothing else, but I found it to be, if anything, slightly better written than most of the other John Wick films. There's not much character development or characters, it's a very simple, maybe too simple, revenge and redemption story. The lead character Eve is trying to avenge her lost father, instead of the more traditional John Wick avenging a dog. Her father was taken out by Gabriel Byrne in the prologue, and the revenge falls a bit flat. Her father is done in when she's a child, but the redemption part worked better for me as she tries to save a young girl and her father from Gabriel Byrne to prevent them from having to share the same life as that of Eve's own family. On the plus side, the film attempts to have more of a story than previous entries in John Wick series, but on the minus side, it attempts to have more of a story than previous entries in the John Wick series, and some of the core audience may not like that it presumes to only have 90% of its time devoted to action sequences instead of the usual 95% you can expect from a John Wick film. It contained a lot of the cliches that really annoy me in action films, like people using a person's body to stop bullets. It's very silly, even more so considering this is a John Wick film, a fiction where people have suits that can do the same job but can actually do it where a human body couldn't. And then Eve chooses not to wear one of those suits in this film. Instead they put the female lead in a dress and good luck fighting or doing high kicks in that without showing the entire club your pants, assuming she's wearing any. It also had grenades going off like an atom bomb until the plot required them not to, then they're like a fart in a bathtub. There's also a part from the trailer in the film where Eve puts a grenade in generic goon number 486's mouth and traps him behind an armoured metal door. Then the grenade goes off. In another part of the film, a grenade can level a chalet, but this one can barely move a door and a tiny woman. But she sees 2 more goons coming and slams the door shut, and the film at that point seems to forget that there was supposed to have been a guy behind the door who just had a grenade go off in his mouth. But I look at the wall and there's no gore, there's no human remains. It seems the grenade was forceful enough to just vaporise the guy's entire body. That's the only thing I can infer from what the film showed me. Or maybe the makers of the film haven't mastered the concepts of either continuity or object permanence. And when they play peekaboo with a baby, you're really under the impression that they become invisible when they cover their own eyes. Later in the film, a character is trying to make a getaway, and it seems some eagle-eyed viewer who cares a lot more about cars than I do noticed that mid-escape, his car changed model. Weirdly, the Swiss actor Daniel Bernhardt is in this film, and it takes quite a lot of effort for Eve to finish him off. That's strange, considering the fact that John Wick strangled the same actor in John Wick 1. I went to look it up, and Bernhardt also may have got done in John Wick 3. He's like the Kenny from South Park of the John Wick franchise, though he probably deserves it just for making the film Future War. After the loss of her father, Eve is taken to be trained by the same people that trained John Wick. So should you watch this film as ever depends on you. Did you like the other John Wick movies? Because this one is a lot like the rest of them. If you like them, this is probably a movie for you. It even has some John Wick in it. But if you hated the others, this is a lot like them, so I frankly wouldn't bother. This film also has the slight change that the lead is now Ana de Armas, not Keanu Reeves. And that comes with some problems. Because Keanu Reeves does a pretty good action sequence even now, even at 60 years old, God help his knees. But he's clearly done quite a bit of martial arts. The problem is, I don't think that Ana de Armas has. She's also 5'6" tall, that's 168 centimetres. She's quite a tiny woman. She's a Smurfette-sized woman, and it kind of strains believability if she's pushing around guys twice her size. It's maybe more believable if your female action lead is Gina Carano, or Ronda Rousey, or Cynthia Rothrock. Ana de Armas seems maybe a bit miscast for the role they put her in as well. They seem to have written a character who's supposed to be in her early 20s, who's being played by an actress who will soon be 40 years old. And that's also going to badly limit how long she can carry on playing this character. Another notable problem with Ana de Armas as the lead in a John Wick film is, well, that it appears if you do that, almost nobody goes to see the film. And I'm not sure exactly why. It's not like the film is getting bad ratings and reviews from the people that actually do go to see it, but very few people seem to actually want to give it a chance and go and see it, and I don't understand exactly why. Now, there are people who don't like John Wick films. It's pretty obvious why they wouldn't want to go and see this John Wick film. As for the John Wick fans, I'm finding that less obvious. Maybe they didn't want to watch a John Wick film without John Wick leading it. That may be some people. Was the film just not advertised well enough? The trailer did have a kind of feminist angle. Maybe that was supposed to attract a female audience. It didn't. And something that they did does seem to have lost quite a bit of the male audience. Is the critical drinker right? Have a succession of obnoxious female-led action movies put people off the whole concept? So maybe tell me below if you wouldn't mind. If you went to see the film, did you like it? And if you didn't, what made you decide not to go? Thinking about it now, spending $90 million on this movie and presuming the fans will show up for a John Wick film with John Wick barely in it does seem recklessly presumptuous. TV and films used to be far better, I fear, at doing spin-offs than the industry seems to be now. They used to wait for a character to become very popular in a series or film before trying to spin them off, like Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or Xena Warrior Princess. And even with already popular characters, they didn't just throw $90 million at them. It's weird because I don't think this film is massively different in tone to John Wick 4. I liked it more than John Wick 4, I think, and not just because of the clothes they put Ana de Armas in. They even got Len Wiseman directing this one, who did the Underworld series of films with Kate Beckinsale, so the cinematography may be better than any of the other John Wick films as well. On the plus side, this film maybe has the best cast of any John Wick movie. It has Ian McShane in it, as usual, who was great in Deadwood. It has the last performance from Lance Reddick, who was great in The Wire. It also has Norman Reedus in it. Angelica Houston's in the film, who I used to like, until I was doing research for another video that nobody watched, but they really should have. That video will tell you why I don't like Angelica Houston. The film also has Gabriel Byrne, who was great in The Usual Suspects, and then this is just playing a pretty generic bad guy. And I got to the end of the film with very little idea of what his motivation was even supposed to be. Maybe write an answer below if you have any idea of what the character's motivation was supposed to be. Maybe love of family? But then he spends most of the film trying to do in his own family. On the minor side, the film had all these great actors and then did almost nothing with them. And I failed to see the point of hiring great character actors and then not furnishing them with a character to play. As a result, the actors just kind of look bored. I quite like action movies, but it does help me get invested if there are stakes. And I have the slightest clue who anyone is, and in this film I mostly didn't, as nondescript goon number 547 gets violently done in with a flamethrower. It's an oddly sadistic film, and most of the people on the receiving end of the violence don't seem to have done anything to deserve it. The guy that Eve repeatedly kicks in the nuts in the trailer was just a sparring partner. Time and again, violence against men gets played for laughs or is used to try and show how awesome a female character is. Most of the time I don't even know who Eve was fighting and the film didn't even really seem to care. But it doesn't make for a great showdown when she finally gets in a place to take her revenge and the film's barely written a character for her and she's fighting a bad guy who's barely been in the film. The nice cinematography in places was coupled with, for me, a quite unremarkable soundtrack. It's something I don't think I appreciated enough. Quite how much soundtracks of films like Big Trouble in Little China, Star Wars, Gladiator, how much they lift the whole project. A good soundtrack can even do character building, but the only music I remember from this film was Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, that for some reason I don't think they ever put in an action sequence. When that could have been an interesting use of juxtaposition. The score maybe lacks a consistent theme within itself, never mind one that chimes with and accentuates the entire film. These are the things that drag the film down for me or at least failed to lift it up. The characters, lack of story arcs, a weak bad guy in the music. The game in the background is once again Defender 2, an arcade game from all the way back in 1982 and way ahead of its time. You can play it for free online. I'll put a link below if you want to try and beat my score and then boast about how much I suck at games in the comments. Be warned though, it's not a fair game, It's not as easy as it looks, and the player's ship handles like a flapping duck on ice skates. At this point, I'm not sure I have quite enough pictures of an Armas on the screen. Shut up. It's my video, I can do what I want, and I can have as many pictures of Ana de Armas on the screen as I like. It's perfectly normal. I'm not obsessed.